Hey, you're listening to Coffee Talk with Liquidshano 1973. Here's your host, Shane Lakita.
Good morning, friends. This Monday morning on the day that a lot of us are celebrating some Veterans Day action. I know that the actual Veterans Day was yesterday, but today it's observed by a lot of people with their days off of work or different functions that they're going to, parades, different just things that happen throughout the country to celebrate in our veterans and the sacrifices that they've made, along with all the great things that are there. As many of you know, I'm a veteran myself, and I'm very prideful of the way that I give back and the way that I try to invest in the veterans that are out there. I have different programs that I go through, like Got Your Six program and some other local VFWs and things that I go to try to volunteer at or cook some meals for or whatever it is. So if you get a chance today just to open this whole entire podcast up here today, go out and do something for a veteran, right? Even if it's just simply calling one that you might know on the phone that might be kind of lonely, or maybe they're just having a bad day and you can cheer them up and pick them up a little bit just by calling them and saying, hey, you know what? I know you did a few years in the military. You sacrificed and gave the ultimate really piece to your freedom to be able to go out there and fight for your country and fight for the rights of your country. So thank you so much for your service and your time. So to all of you veterans that are listening, or families of veterans, because a lot of the families are also those that are part of that whole entire network of veterans, and the way that we need to celebrate them as well. So to all of you that are veterans out there, I appreciate you, each and every one of you, for if you did 2 years, a year, 30 years, or whatever, in any military service whatsoever. I appreciate you so much for giving me the freedom to be able to sit right here on this microphone and do this coffee talk, basically because I have the rights and the freedoms of an American citizen based on the fact that you guys are out there every day, or have been out there every day, or were out there in the past every day, fighting for our freedoms, doing the right thing, and making sure that we have the ability to be able to live in a free democratic society like we do. So I appreciate each and every one of you. I know that's my soapbox moment around Veterans Day, but it's an important day. It really is. It's an important day to be able to get out there and just connect and be able to give back. And, you know, to be honest with you, a lot of times you'll see and you'll read a lot of stories right now that are out there around suicide hotlines. And a lot of suicides these days are people that come back from wars and situations from overseas while in the military, that suffer from PTSD and suffer from just the overall feeling that there's a couple of different dynamics, and I know I'm going to get into deep topic, but that's okay. So there's a couple of different dynamics when it comes to veterans. One of them is that the PTSD portion of it, which really affects them, and it can affect them in different ways, whether it's wartime situation or whether it's just the camaraderie that a military person feels side by side with somebody, and it's the intensity of going into somewhere that you are putting everything you've got into to risk your life to being able to do that, and then coming back home and all of a sudden now you don't have that anymore. So our veterans that are out there are really important to us, and we want to make sure that we are investing in them, and don't forget about them. Okay, so today is a great day to be able to just reach out, do what you have to do, bake some cookies, cupcakes, or whatever, bring it to a local veterans place, bring it to a veterans home, go to the local VFW and just drop it off and say, hey guys, I just wanted to drop this off for Veterans Day. I really appreciate all of you and the sacrifices and the things that you've done for this country and myself. So, okay, so there we go. That's where we're at with that portion of it. So today's podcast, though, is based on our journeys. So here we are. It was a holiday weekend. Some people were hanging out with family. Some people were cooking some barbecues, doing some different stuff, especially as we're heading into the winter months. Some people were trying to be able to maximize their time before the winter time comes around. And outside of some of the unfortunate and devastating situations going on out in California with the wildfires, I think most of the country had fairly okay weather. Some were snowing, a little bit this, that, and the other. So I'm sure that people were trying to be able to just get some good meals in together, good family time, and that kind of stuff. So again, on top of it being a holiday weekend, it is a time that people like to eat and like to dive into different types of dishes and foods and snacks and all that stuff. Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that I just talked about, or I just posted this morning on No Finish Line Nation, on Connect, and on Instagram, is the ability to be able to invest in yourself. Okay, so the image that I posted this morning was, you gotta nourish so you can flourish. Okay, so you got to think about this. This is a two-part project here with this nourish and flourish thing. So nourishment, as everybody knows, is basically feeding yourself, making sure that you have the proper amounts of fluids, making sure that you have proper amounts of foods. Nourishment is the essentials that we need for our bodies to perform. And a lot of times when we're on diets or we're doing different things, we become malnourished and we start to not take the nourishment that we need because we're trying to starve ourselves to be able to get ourselves to where we need to be. Because we might have a goal of a weight, or we might have a goal of the way our body needs to look, or whatever else, and then we get really, really buried in the whole fixation around what it's got to look like, where I want to be at my goal. And so we start to kind of not give ourselves the nourishment that we need. And what's interesting about this whole entire diet lifestyle, the whole entire weight loss or health related lifestyle, it's all predicated on the fact that if you're not feeding yourself, that's not a healthy way of doing it. If you starve yourself, you're only going to set yourself for failure in the future, right? So what you need to do is you need to continually eat. Now, you would think that that's counterproductive whenever you're thinking, I need to lose weight. But think about it this way. Your body's an engine, right? And it's got these little gears that are rolling and it's moving, and there's gears going, and there's oil in there, and there's all kinds of stuff. And it's an engine, and every engine needs fuel. And when your body is going, your body needs to eat fuel, or to have fuel coming in for it to run at optimal performance. Now, fuel can come in many different forms. Here's where we have a little bit of an issue sometimes, because when we tend to eat, if we eat the unhealthy items that are high in calorie, high in fat, high in cholesterol, and those kind of things, then that's not really adding good fuel into your engine. That's adding the fuel that's maybe the low end of the spectrum. Maybe it's got some not so great additives in there. Maybe it's got some stuff that's going to leave some wear and tear, some sludge on the engine parts, or whatever it's got it going on, right? So you got your engine going on inside, and you've got to add fuel to it, and you've got to add fuel that's healthy. Fuel that is worth it, fuel that is high viscosity, right? That can take a lot of the wear and tear and be able to move forward. So when you think about it, nourishment comes in that form also. The other part of that is our bodies have metabolisms. Our bodies are wired a certain way. And if you're not feeding your body and increasing your metabolism, so think about it. If you feed your body and you put fuel in, then your body is going to work. Even if you're in a sedentary job and you're sitting around and you're looking at the computer screen and you're doing whatever it is that you do, and it's a job that doesn't require a lot of walking or a lot of steps or a lot of stuff like that, or a lot of, just regular sweat or exercise, and you are sitting around. But if you eat healthy items such as a protein bar, or you eat such as snacks or some veggies or some fruits or different things, and you're snacking throughout small little incremental amounts, your metabolism is going to continue to run at a certain level. Now, this is one that a lot of people will either disagree or agree with me, but that's okay. I'm okay with disagreement or agreement. But the thing about it is that, some people say that the metabolism is just the way it is, and you can't increase metabolism or decrease metabolism. But I will tell you, I personally perform better whenever I'm eating. If I'm eating healthy and I'm concentrated on my breakfast and I got a snack in between, then I eat my lunch and then a snack in between, then I eat my dinner, and then maybe a snack in the evening that are healthy snacks. We're not talking about Snickers bars or Mars bars or chocolate cream pies. We're talking a fruit or a protein bar or some sort of healthy type of snack to continue to make myself feel as if even when I go to eat my meal, I'm not so starving that I want to eat the entire plate filled along with the plate itself because I'm hungry. Because that's another thing that happens to me. When I don't nourish, when I don't bring in the nourishment that I need, and then I go to eat after starving myself during the whole entire time, or on top of that, not drinking the water that I need throughout the day, then I go to eat the meal and I literally stuff my face. How many of us have been there? We go through this whole thing where we're moving, we're grooving. We're like, yeah, this is great, man. You know, I'm within a certain amount of calories today, a certain amount of points today. I got a certain amount of whatever today, and I'm good to go. And you sit down and you eat your meal, and you're like, well, you know what? I've saved up so many points here. I'm just going to stuff my face here because I've got this stuff to work with. And then you eat everything, and you eat doubles and triples if at times. I've been there. I've so been down that road. And that's something that is bad. It's not great, right? Because you're sitting there after working at things, which you think you're being successful throughout the day by not eating anything. And then you eat the big meal. And then in the evening, you're stuffed, you're overstuffed. You're like, oh, you're not really feeling all that great. Or your metabolism is like, whoa, it's creeping way low. You got no energy. You get this big, huge mound of food sitting in your belly. And you just feel like, oh man, what did I just do? Right? And then you get the guilty feeling, and the guilty conscience kicks in and all that stuff. So this is the nourishment part we're talking about. This is just the food part. This is just the part where we say you got to feed yourself. You got to put high-end fuel into the tank, making sure that your engine is optimally running. You've got to do that. It's got to happen. It's just like what you would do for a car or a tractor or whatever it is. If you're adding junk in, you're going to get junk out. And if you are adding high-end, clean items in, you're going to get optimal performance, and it's going to run for many, many years to come. As many of you might know, I should say, if you're an auto mechanic or you talk to an auto mechanic, if you are preparing the maintenance of your vehicle by adding good fuel, good oil, doing your oil changes, changing out your tires, doing all the stuff, staying on top of your regular maintenance, the lifespan of your car is so much longer. It's the same exact thing of what we're doing. 100% the same exact thing. Your engine needs to be taken care of. And if you're not adding fuel to it and taking care of it and making sure that it's running at optimal performance, eating healthy foods, eating stuff that's good in fiber, eating stuff that's going to help you stay regular, drinking water throughout the day to stay nourished with the amount of fluids that you need in your body and all those things, you got to stay on top of it, okay? So nourish your body. Make sure that you're adding fuel to your fire. Number one. Here's number two. The nourishment that I talk about the most, that you hear me talk about on Coffee Talk, you hear me talk about on all my podcasts before, many, many, many times before, is you have to make sure that you're investing in yourself. You got to make sure you're taking the time to invest in you. How many times, if you're a mom or a dad, do you end up taking care of everyone in the family? The kids, the dog, the cat, the house, the parents, everything you got going on. You're taking care of every single other person that's out there except for yourself. You're taking care of all of them, and then all of a sudden you wake up one day and you're thinking to yourself, man, I've gained 35 to 40 pounds. I'm not feeling very good at myself. I'm in the doldrums right now of my own self-worth, but I'm making sure that everybody else is taken care of because they got to get to the school on time, get to the bus stop on time, make sure they have the clothes going the right way, make sure the hair's done the right way, make sure mom and dad are taken care of, make sure you take care of all that stuff. And then next thing you know, you're looking at yourself going, what happened to me? How many of you have done that? I've done it. I've done it many times where I'm sitting back and I go, and the dust settles and I look around and go, wait a minute, what have I done for myself? I haven't done anything. Have I gone for a run, which I know I love to go for runs? Or have I gone for a walk, which I know I love walks because I can just breathe in the fresh air and see all the scenery around me, or whatever it is that you like to do. Have I done that lately? Probably not, because I'm taking care of every other person but myself. And this can come in many different forms. The nourishment piece of making sure that you recharge your batteries can come from exercise. From a lot of people, it is exercise, because people like to go do the things that they like to do, and they like to be able to exert that energy and release some of those endorphins when they're running and they're getting those things out there, and they're just like, oh, all the stress of everything is just released. And it's almost like this huge monumental push of all this negative energy out of your body. When you get home from your run, your walk, or whatever it is that you do, you feel this euphoric calm and peace about yourself. And if you are an athlete, which I think every one of you are to a certain point, even if you don't do a lot of exercise, there's an athlete in every one of us, right? So if you, at the end of the day, when you get done with a workout, you get done with the treadmill, you get done with whatever it is, at the end of the day, you always feel better about yourself when you accomplish it. Now, the key to it is going to do it and pulling the trigger to be able to invest in yourself that way. If you're an exerciser and you like to run or walk, well, guess what the key to it is? You might want to think about running or walking. Because when we take care of everybody else and we've got all these agendas and we've got all these calendars and we've got all these meals and we've got all these lunches we're packing and whatever else we've got going on in our lives, we tend to put our own self-worth on the back burner. So then you don't go for the walk and you don't go for the run on the treadmill, or you don't go to the gym and you don't go do the exercise that you know is so good for you that makes you feel so good when you do it or after you get it done, right? Everybody here knows that. We all know how good we feel after we're done with the workout, even though going to do the workout is a pain, but after we're done with it, it feels great. So why put that on the back burner? Remember what I said earlier? Along with the nourishment that you're doing with fuel for food-wise you're putting in your body, but the nourishment also on this part of it is you're investing in yourself. You have to do it. And the investment doesn't have to be exercise only. That's only for those that like to exercise. How about if you take some time for yourself? If you're sitting there working a really stressful job and you're out there working, or you're traveling throughout the state, or you're doing whatever it is, and then you take 15 minutes for yourself to go into a room, turn off the light, and just meditate, put on some headphones, and sit back and listen to some really nice light Enya type music, and just relax, and just think about whatever, and focus on your breathing, and do whatever it takes for 15 minutes to have not a care in the world, not a worry in the world, no kids, no mom and dads, no job, no nothing. It's just you in a dark room and you are just investing in yourself. Think about that for a second. Do you do that often? Probably not, right? And if you are doing it, you're in the zone, right? So you've got this all incorporated in with what you're doing. Everything's good. We're all set. If you're not doing that, then how do you right size with the things that you're doing? How do you recharge your batteries? It's just another way to do it if you do any meditation. Another way would be, let's say, for instance, this weekend, you book it out. You call the local massage and you say, hey, you know what? I want to sit down on the table. I want to get a massage by myself, for me, myself, and I. And I want to go in there and I want to spend about an hour of my time. Let the husband or the wife take care of the kids. Let the babysitter come over to do whatever you have to do. Even if you're a single parent, get the sitter over, sit down and do what you have to do. And I need to recharge my batteries for me. And it's not selfish to do that. How often do we feel selfish? How often do we feel like, well, I understand a massage would be great, and I understand meditation would be great, and all those things. But I feel guilty because all these other people need me. My kids need me. My parents need me. Or whatever it is that you have in your scenario, in your situation, in your life. Because we always are giving to others. But remember, if that is a goal of yours, to make sure that you take care of everyone around you, and you're focused on that, and you want to be able to be successful in making sure that you can invest in other people, you have to be right-sized with yourself. You have to make sure that you're investing in yourself to make sure that you're at a point where you can then invest in other people. If you're not feeling right about you, if you're not feeling like you're at the right place where you need to be, think about how less impactful you are for others when you want to be able to take that time to invest in other people. Because then you're running on empty. Then you go to try to help other people, and you might be feeling down in the dumps. You might be feeling weak. You might be feeling lethargic. You might be feeling like, oh, I'm just not feeling it today. But you still continue to be that champion and say, I'm just going to keep on focusing on others and not worry about me. Well, stop that. You got to take the time for you to invest in you. Take the time that's necessary for you to feel good about yourself, at least for once. If you haven't done it in like a week or two, do it today. Whatever it is that you have to do today to make sure that whether you're at your lunch break, whether you're sitting at the picnic table outside, whether you want to be able to go and let's just say, I don't know, go to dinner with somebody or go to lunch with somebody and just talk about stuff other than life's troubles. And you just want to go there to relax and just do nothing and just eat some good food, sit back and just enjoy company of another. Whatever it is that you want to do, whether it's going to volunteer, you want to go to an elderly home and go and volunteer something with them, or maybe they're starting to put up their Thanksgiving decorations and you want to go help out with that, or you want to go start setting up for some Christmas time celebrations or whatever, and you want to invest in those and help others that are less fortunate than what you are. Whatever it is that you need to do today. Because you're just as important as anybody else, if not more important. And you got to stop thinking that everybody else is more important than you, because you're the number one concern for you to be successful in your journey, and then also to help others where they want to be and where they need to go. You need to be in the right place, in the right frame of mind. So do that today. If you haven't thought about it, or you haven't done it, or you haven't book it today. Get that massage. Go do the nails. Get the nails done. Go to the gym. Go play some hoops. Go get scheduled for a co-ed volleyball league to be able to get some of that stuff out. Whatever it is that you need to do to make sure that you're investing in you and not always worried about everybody else, start it today. Put it on as your plan and make that happen. Because I know that that's important to me, and I've got to make sure I'm not going to feel selfish about the fact that I need to invest in myself. Because if I'm not right with myself, I'm not going to be right for others. Okay? So remember, the image said, you got to nourish so you can flourish. For you to be at your optimal performance and you to flourish in this journey, you've got to nourish both food-wise and your own recharge the batteries, self-care, self-love, and self-motivation-wise. Okay? Have a great day, everybody. Happy Veterans Day to everybody, and we'll talk later.
Thanks for listening to the Coffee Talk with Liquidshano 1973 podcast. You can also follow him on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Liquidshano 1973. Also, if you get a chance, leave some love on iTunes. Have a great day.